What's up? This is Patrick of Radicards.com, and in this video, we're going to be talking about my top 10 pickups of Frank Thomas cards of 2020. So usually I produce these at the end of the year, early in the following year, but this stuff just takes a while to process. I have to scan the images, I have to produce the slides, and then I have to create the checklist and organize the checklist. I mean, it's a little bit of a workload, but here we are. So I'm finally glad to do the top 10 list for Frank Thomas pickups in 2020. So let's get down to it here. Now, typically I start these lists off with honorable mentions. Just to warm up, 3 good cards that I think are notable talking points, but I didn't feel really made the top 10 list for one reason or another. So let's get right into the honorable mentions. So the first one being the 2014 Upper Deck Goodwin Champions Mini Foil Presidential Gold, 1 of 1. Great card to have. I have another of the same from a different year. And so when I found this, I was like, well, I got to get it. There have been kind of an influx of these hitting eBay of different players you can get. If you want just a type of this card, they're available. Goodwin has, there's a lot going on with this product. Not licensed, unfortunately, because Upper Deck doesn't have the licensing, so you don't see the MLB logos. But I think they do a pretty good job with that limitation. Goodwin Champions is just one of those fun kind of Allen and Gintery type sets. With a lot of varying layers of complexities. It's a great set. So this is it. This is the 2014 Upper Deck Goodwin Champions Mini Foil Presidential Gold 1 of 1. All right, the next one. This is the 2004 Donruss World Series Hollow Foil 10, print run of 10. It's the only time I've seen this example. Obviously, the rarer parallel of the in the run. This card is coupled with a bunch of different parallels, and this being on the rarer side. And so I was glad to finally get this example, a little bit of a bear for this particular card. I was surprised by how much attention it got when it surfaced, but I was glad to finally put it in the archive. Stuff I still need is extremely rare, and so I expect some, attention. Whatever. This is cool. This is a nice piece to have, so I was glad to get it finally. This is the 2004 Donruss World Series Hollow Foil 10, print run of 10. All right, so this card is a card I've wanted for a while. 2006 Topps Heritage Gold Black Refractor, print run of 57, commemorating the 1957 Topps design, which is what you have there. This card scans so well. Look at that etched background. Oh my gosh, so nice, so nice. PSA 10. I would have taken this raw. I don't even care. I didn't buy it because it was a 10. I bought it because I needed the card, and I just was after it. It was just it's been a while. I think the last time I saw this card surface, it was 2000 and maybe 12, maybe 11. I mean, it was a while ago. We just don't see these ever. They're just so rare. There may have been a bin somewhere in between that I missed, but the amount of times I can count either seeing them or maybe seeing them is 2 other times in all my years of collecting since this product's release. So finally glad to get this. So this is cool. I'm really glad to finally get this. This knocks out the run for me. And I think this completes all the black refractors for me, actually, for the different chrome heritage stuff across the different products, Bowman and Topps. So glad to finally get this into the archive. 2020, here we are, right? So 2006 Topps Heritage Chrome Black Refractor, serial number of 57. All right, so the top 10 list. This list is really interesting. It's really complex, a lot of ins and outs, a lot of what have yous. So really glad to finally knock out these cards. These are monster cards for my collection. It was hard to make this list because there were cards that didn't make this list that I had been looking for forever. One specific card was Private Stock Vintage, just an impossible card. And I got it in a lot, and the image was really blurred out. Unfortunately, that card didn't make this list, but that card's a monster, and maybe I'll discuss it on a blog post at some point in the future. But whatever the case, what we're about to talk about are some of just huge purchases of 2020, and so I was really glad to get these. So let's dig right into it here. So this is the 1998 SPX Finite Radiance, card number 173, print run of 100. Extremely hard card to find. OC, typically. A little bit, at least top to bottom on these, or at least the way you look at it with this orientation, which is how I scan them into the museum. Very difficult card to find, and it was one of the last lower print runs that's not a 1 of 1 in the run. I think this was the last one I needed, actually, that's not a 1 of 1. I was happy to finally get this knocked out. fellow collector helped me out with this one. He had an extra, and so he sold me this along with another card we'll talk about later in this video. I was really glad to finally check this card off, because it was just one of those cards I had never seen all these years. I was looking for the 173 Radiance to 100, and it just eluded me all these years. Finally glad to check it off. So this is the 1998 SPX Finite Radiance card number 173. All right, huge card here. Huge 2000 Ultimate Victory Parallel 25, print run of 25. This was a bin. And I remember when I saw it, I was like, buy that immediately. I couldn't even hit the bin fast enough. I was like, done, out the door. Really happy to finally get this. This was the last parallel I needed for this run. And I remember having dinner with some fellow collectors at the 2015 National, and one of the other gentlemen's a big Frank Thomas collector, and he had this card. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'd love to get this card. I have the Gary Sheffield. I wanted an example, so I picked up the Gary Sheffield. It depicts him in a Dodgers uniform. And I was like, when am I ever going to get the Frank Thomas? Because the red to 100s of these are hard enough as they stand. And then the silver to 250s. I mean, these are beautiful cards. And there's like a base blue flat foil, no refractor thing. And so these cards are really they're just gorgeous. And I was like, when am I ever going to get the gold to 25? And so when I saw this as a bin, I was like, well, I'm just going to knock that out, like home run style. And so I finally grabbed this card. I don't know what this would, like how well it would perform at auction, but probably pretty well. And so it's just great. A couple of great things about this card. The design, for one, is fantastic. Just an incredible design. You got that like canvas style border on the front with like the paint sort of strokes along the edges there. An excellent photo of Frank Thomas swinging through. Just a great shot of Frank Thomas. Awesome portrait photo. Love this card. I love the gold. And the like debossed serial numbering into the card. It's just a beautiful, beautiful card. I love this stuff. So here you go. This is 2000 Ultimate Victory Parallel 25. Okay, so this card is 1997 Donruss Signatures Autograph Century print run of 100. Man, this card was really hard to find. I had seen a couple of other ones over the years, and every time I'd learned that they were at auction, they had sold. Like, hey, it's at auction, and I go and click on sold. This happened so many times, or someone got it for like this amount, and I didn't see it. I didn't get to it fast enough. Didn't see the listing, and it just sold. So many years this card eluded me. So many years. And I was like, man, when am I ever get that Century Marks from 97? I mean, I got to get this card. This is one of the big ones. I mean, there are bigger cards, but this is the one that I was really after. And so when I finally got a chance to get this year, I was like, well, I'm just going to take whatever advantage I can to get this card into my collection. And I paid around market for what they're currently going for presently, but it's a give or take, like it's around this plus, this minus. So I was glad to finally get this card. Difficult stuff to find. Just even now, I think there was one that sold relatively recently, within the last month, I'd say. So they come up, but like I said, every time for years, I had an opportunity that had expired before I even got to it. And so I just was finally glad to knock this one out. Finally, geez. Just a bear of a card. 1997 Donruss Signature Autographs Century, number to 100. Okay, so this, normally I wouldn't put like strange, oddball, error typey stuff in these lists, because a lot of the stuff was meant for this card and trash, but this card I think deserves a segment because it's so strange and interesting. This is 1997 Pinnacle Totally Certified Platinum Gold Sample Prototype. It's like a prototype of a sample. Probably what happened here is that they printed this to check for quality, and just to see how things would lay out. And then this was like essentially was like, well, that's trash, but it's so cool, maybe I'll just set it aside. And it ended up in the secondary market, and then a Thomas collector, a friend of mine, bought it, and then he sold it to me. I remember when I lost it to him, I was like, oh man, I wish I would have gotten that card. What a cool thing. The differences on this card to the pack issued one are on the front of the card, you have almost like a strange, unique pattern thing going on with the back, like a combination of flat hollow foil to like a matrix thing happening there underneath his hands, and then like almost like a nothing spread of display, and there's like a box there that goes down through the main of his core, like a line, a pretty thick line there that just doesn't seem to have feature any real significant print foiling or holographic anything. That's the front, which is, I mean, it's just a combination. It's just kind of a mess, but cool. It's a cool mess. Like, I appreciate the mess. But on the back, the promo to 30 on the pack issued, or at least the sample pack issued, I should say, because these are released in packs, like a sample cellophane thing. You get a couple cards. That promo to 30 would have been printed on into like gold, flat gold foil. So like the one you normally see, the promo to 30 is flat gold foil. Here it's just black, no print over. And you know, this card has been mistaken for a print run of 30. They're like the pack issue, legitimate one, not the pack issue. You can't buy these and get these in packs, but these samples were released in cellophane packs and they were distributed that way. The cellophane pack issued ones don't have a print run of 30. Really what you see here is what the card could look like, and the card itself will have a print run of 30, the totally certified platinum. And so you'll see the to 30 print run on the actual legitimate now pack issued card, the really rare one that doesn't have the sample over the card, the sample printed over the card. So these samples, when they say promo to 30, they're incorrectly marketed often as, oh, print run of 30. That's just not how it works here. They produced many, 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 many samples, many copies of this card. The to 30 just indicates that, yeah, the pack issued one, the actual legitimate release of this card that doesn't have the sample printed on it, will have a print run of 30. I hope that makes sense. But yeah, really cool stuff. Kind of a strange, obscure prototype version of a sample. I just thought this was an awesome card to add. I don't think that there's another copy of this in existence. I think this is because it was probably meant for scrap and it made its way out, that I'm not convinced there's another copy of this floating around. So anyway, there you have it. This is the 1997 Pinnacle Totally Certified Platinum Gold Sample Prototype. All right, super, super crazy hard card to get here. 1998 Collector's Choice StarQuest Home Run to 100. I had a battle a couple different Frank Thomas collectors for this one. I was so committed to getting this. I didn't care. I was like, I know it's going to be nasty, but I have to get this card. So I had been after this card for many, many years, and I didn't know if I was ever going to see one or own one or whatever. You know, print runs to 100 in the 90s are just tough because the print runs for everything else, like pack issues, is just high. It's super high still. It wasn't like junk wax era high, but it was still extremely high. And so finding something with a print run of 100 is very difficult, and they retain pretty good value. But I, as a Frank Thomas collector, I needed this card, and it was the last one of the run that I needed. Biggest differentiator here are the 4 baseball diamonds on the front of the card down there by home run, and the refractor finish background. It's like hollow foil, because the whole front isn't refractored, because these aren't chrome cards. They're standard cards. They just have a hollow foil finish on the front. And obvious, of course, the serial number on the back. Really awesome stuff. Super glad to get this finally and check this off the box. This was just I wouldn't say a nightmare. There are nightmare cards we'll talk about here in a minute, but this is an extremely, extremely card to find. It's the only one I've ever seen, Thomas, and here it is in my collection. So there you have it. This is the 1998 Collector's Choice StarQuest Home Run, serial number 200. Okay, so 1995 Pinnacle Artist Proofs. They're like, the standard Artist Proofs have like a flat silver finish on the foil area of the front of the card, down there, the nameplate and over Artist Proof. But it's my understanding there was a first pass of these were inserted into packs, and they were hollow foil finish, gold hollow foil finish over those areas. I only learned about these probably in 2008, and then I had searched for them ardently and came up short for years and years and years, up until 2016 when a seller had posted a bunch of them on eBay, listed a bunch of them on eBay, and I was like, oh my gosh, I have to watch these. Well, I missed out on getting this one, but I was able to secure the other 2 known examples because Thomas is featured 4 times in 1995 Pinnacle, but these gold artist proof examples are only known for 3 of the 4 cards. And so this particular one, card 226, was the last one I needed. And a fellow collector helped me out for getting this one because he purchased a couple of them, and I was like, oh my gosh, can we work a deal for 226? He's like, sure. So we were able to take care of that, and I was glad to finally get this into the archive to complete the run of the 3 known examples. Very difficult card to find. I haven't seen another one since, because there was like a several week period or months even that where these cards surfaced through the same seller, and so they've become obviously more available than ever pre 2016. And just, it took me some years to get all three of the cards. And I just kind of waited. I was patient. I was like, I'm not going to spend $1,600 on card 450. But after 450 surfaced a couple of times later, prices came down. I was able to get that one, and there was the other one, the checklist I had gotten years prior. It was like I think 2013 or 12. I'd finally gotten one, so I take that back from earlier. It just took years to find one, and the checklist was the first one I got, and this 226 was the third. It was just the last of the three that I got. So finally glad to get this. Yeah, I don't know if the whole set. Obviously not, because the fourth Frank Thomas card is not known to exist in this gold artist proof. It might. I just haven't yet seen it. So it's possible the whole set was produced like this with this like gold hollow foil artist proof thing, but I don't know. Anyway, so there you have it. This is 1995 artist proof, a Pinnacle artist proof gold variation. So this is 1999 Crown Royal Crammer's Choice Red, print run of 25. Okay, so the story behind this with me is that I used to live in Westwood and in Los Angeles next to UCLA. I used to work at UCLA, and I used to walk to work. It was the greatest thing ever. I remember moving up from Fullerton and taking like a commute that was an hour and a half and getting up at 4:30 in the morning to getting up at, say, 7 or 6:30 and walking to work, and then getting more sleep and not having to drive is like the greatest thing on earth. It's like, so it was so nice. And one morning, as I was walking to work super early in the morning, like 7 a.m., saw this card on eBay. It was like an $80 bin, and I didn't buy it. I was like, well, I think I was, because I was always hurting for money back then. That was a tough time. Living in LA is like somewhat masochistic for a lot of us, because it's difficult to make a lot of make money there. It's make headway. It's hard. And at the time, I was aggressively pursuing Frank Thomas stuff. I was putting a lot of time and money into it, because he was going to make the Hall of Fame in a couple of years, and then I just predicted that things would get gnarly, and they have. I mean, not as gnarly as like Jeter or Griffey or Jordan or LeBron, but I mean, they've gotten gnarlier. So I didn't win that auction. I was kind of bummed. I was like, okay, well, there will be other cards, whatever. I mean, fast forward to, I don't know, 2018 maybe, and a contact I know had found one of these at a pawn shop or something, and I asked him about it, and he said this card was accounted for another Frank Thomas collector. I was like, all right, so I can't get that one. So 2 times in now, I get the walk to UCLA. Didn't get that because I didn't buy it, because it was whatever. $80 bin, but for some reason my money was allocated elsewhere. I didn't get the card from the guy who found it at the pawn shop. So I'm like, okay, there are 23 other chances to get this card, assuming those 2 that sold are not going to be sold again. So I just waited and waited. 2020 came around, and I was like, oh my gosh, this card finally surfaces. This is a jumbo. So they're in those jumbo, difficult. Most people don't use jumbo sleeves before they put them in jumbo top loaders. This was raw in the top loader, so I had to carefully slide it out of the top loader. I don't love that situation, but whatever. I'll take it. This is a rare card. Super hard to find. Glad to finally get it. I have a couple of the other parallels of this card. There's like a turquoise and a green. There's a bunch of other different colors that I don't have. There's a base. They're awesome. I love them. They're fantastic. I don't know if I'll ever complete this run. I don't expect so, but if this is as far in as I can get, I'm happy. But if I can get more, obviously great. You just don't see them. They're just rare. So there you have it. This is the 1999 Crown Royal Crammer's Choice Red Jumbo to 25. All right, so this is 3 cards, obviously, and the reason why I'm showcasing them all together is because it's essentially the same card. The one on the left is 1994 Topps Black Gold ABCD. Middle is the ABCD certified, and the right is it's like I don't think it's error, it's a printer's proof. It just doesn't have the gold foil printing on it. So this is 1994. Okay, these were hard to find, and they're expensive for a couple of different reasons. The way they were released was something like around the strike, where people weren't buying. I don't remember the specifics of it, but these were hard to get. Like 95 Topps, like that, those sealed sets were like hard to get for a while because the strike impacted marquee value, both in ticket sales and collector value, like collector excitement, collector attention. So that's one of the reasons, right? The second reason is this card features all the players in the Topps Black Gold set from 1994. So if you collect another player, then you got to get this card, right? If you're like, okay, well, I collect Barry Bonds or Ken Griffey Jr. or whatever, Joe Carter, then I have to get this card. Because of that, player collectors of all the players depicted are going to want a copy of this card. So when it surfaces, it garners attention from player collectors throughout the ethos of collecting. You've got obviously Frank Thomas guys, you got Griffey guys, you got Cal Ripken guys, David Justice guys. Anybody who's on this card depicted on it is going to collect attention from that segment of player collectors. So these cards are not cheap. They do pretty well in market. The middle card, the certified, is the only one I've ever seen, and it's mine that I have here is it's got a condition flaw on it. One of the top corners is not perfect, but this is the only one I find. Whatever. And in fact, when I got that, and then I got the ABCD, the one on the left, I was like, great, I have 2 copies. Maybe I'll replace the one I have that's, damaged and, turn some money around a little bit. And then I realized that one's a certified, one's not. I was like, I'm keeping both, obviously. They're going into my collection. And then this, proof example surfaced. And I was like, well, I got to get that too because, why not, right? Like, they're great cards to have. Fascinatingly, the Topps Black Gold logo on the non-certified pack issue is not there. You can see that on that card on the left. That's the only strange characteristic of that card on the left. I don't know why that happened, but that logo doesn't exist on the non-certified variety. Anyway, these are cool. These took me a while to get. I was looking for the ABCD 94 Black Gold for a long time. Acquiring them all in the same year, all 3 of these, is like, I couldn't ask for anything more. I was really happy to get finally the different cards of the 1994 Topps Black Gold ABCD. So there you have it. 3 different versions. Obviously 2 official versions, the non-certified and the certified, and a proof version, or printer's proof. It's a blank back thing of the 1994 Topps Black Gold ABCD. All right, getting down to it here. This is the 1998 Pinnacle Epics Play. So Frank Thomas was in all the different Epics products in 98, and the Play variety are the bankruptcy variety. So these were the non-officially issued 1998 Pinnacle Epics featuring Frank Thomas. And these cards came from the same seller. I talked to him in 2017, when he had listed a bunch of bankruptcy cards, and we had talked about this run back then. I was like, hey, what can we do on the run for Thomas? And he gave me a number. I was like, okay, well, let me think about it. And all this stuff that he was listing was selling really well. And so I missed out on the Play, but the Play variety ended up on COMC, and it just stayed there. And the price was way higher than we had discussed. And so in 2020, I was like, I need to just get this done because these are the last 3 that I need. I have everything else. I've got all the header cards. I got all the moments. I've got everything. I just need to get the plays and call it a day. And I also wanted to produce a blog post about it. So I was just waiting on actually just committing to getting these 3. So got back in touch with him, and I said, hey, can we match the conversation from, 3 years back? And he's like, I tell you what, give me this much more and we can take care. I was like, done. So I paid him, on my way. He sent them over. I published the blog post, and I'm finally glad to get this run done. So these are the 1998 Pinnacle Epics Play. These are actually the bankruptcy examples for Frank Thomas. And in 2017, when these surfaced, it was the first time I'd ever seen them. I didn't know that these existed. I was like, oh my gosh, they look amazing. He's in the Play run too. So cool. So really cool stuff. Glad to finally knock these out. I wanted to put these on one slide because they were all purchased together, and it's essentially the same card with all the same rarity, just different colors for this particular example because they never had an official release. So there you have it. 1998 Pinnacle Epics Play, Frank Thomas. Pinnacle bankruptcy varieties. All right, last card here. The number 1 spot goes to 1999 Fleer Brilliance 24 karat gold. Oh my gosh. This card eluded me for years and years and years and years and years. I just looked for it forever. I was always at card shows looking at showcases hoping to see this card. Hoping and coming up short every card show. I was on eBay over the years, and the first time I'd seen this card surface was around, I think it was in June or July of 2013. and it surfaced with 2 other cards I needed. I think I won the other 2, but didn't win this one, and it was a BGS 9 at the time. Not the same example, but purchased from the same seller who, to my understanding, also had this card. So he had 2 copies, and he sold this to another Frank Thomas collector. And I was working with the Frank Thomas collector doing payment plans, I think starting as early as 2019, and I finally paid him off in 2020. So I take this as a 2020 acquisition because that's when I had it in hand. So slight condition imperfection. There's a print dot at the top there on the top edge in the front of the card. I can live with that fine. Print run of 24. These are some of the most beautiful cards to come out of the 90s. You got gold hollow foil finish on the print, and you got gold hollow foil like refractor background. It's just they're so magnificent. Some of the best looking cards I think ever in all of trading cards. So yeah, 2013. I didn't win that auction. I came up short, and the guy who bought it, I probably would have had to fork over quite a bit more than my bid price. Like I think his bid was way higher than mine, so I don't think I would have had a chance anyway. Before I was negotiating for this one, another Frank Thomas seller had one, and he and I were sort of in talks, but that conversation expired, and so I circled back with the gentleman who had offered me at one of these, and I was like, let's go ahead and start the payment plan on this one. And I secured this example. It's interesting. I waited for, up to 2019, and then I had opportunities, 2 different opportunities, right, for these cards, and I was able to take advantage of at least one of them, and that's all I really wanted was to get 1 copy. Great card to have, beautiful card. I've been wanting this this was one of my most wanted cards for a long time. It's right up there with some of the bigger cards in the hobby, like Crusade Red. I mean, I guess I don't want to go as far back as 96 Mirror Gold because obviously those are always everybody's favorite, but during like the 98, 99 era, this is up there with some of the bigger cards that I just don't see that have print runs between, say, like 25 and 50. There you have it. 1999 Fleer Brilliance 24 karat gold, print run of 24, Frank Thomas. All right, that concludes my list of top Frank Thomas pickups of 2020. If you like this video, maybe you thought that one of those cards shouldn't have made the list, or what's your favorite card, or maybe, one of my honorable mentions should have made the list of top 10s. Love to hear your thoughts. Please post a comment. Thank you for tuning into Radicards TV on Radicards.com. I'm your host, Patrick Reno, and until next time, enjoy collecting. Wait. Before you go, be sure to subscribe to my channel today to be updated on all my future content.